So, cringe, I feel like, is anything that causes some sort of secondhand embarrassment. As you're hearing a story that makes you cringe, maybe it makes your body tense up a little bit or makes your cheeks feel flush.
Mhm.
But ultimately, I think it's more about connection because we only feel secondhand embarrassment when we can relate to the story that we're being told.
Welcome to Cringe Talk, where we talk about everything related to CringeFest. Since 2018, CringeFest has invited very brave souls to the stage to share their most embarrassing stories, all in support of Project Right Now. Hi, I'm Lizzie Finn. I'm your host, and today we're talking to Jennifer Gaites, who is an instructor at Project Right Now and a key player on the CringeFest team. So welcome, Jen. I want to ask you about your involvement with Project Right Now a little bit, and then how you became involved with CringeFest out of that.
I am an instructor, as you said, at Project Right Now. I've been teaching adult writing classes for probably 10 years now. And I also work with high school students to do college essay. So I love that. I love my involvement and I love the mission of the organization. Not only the work that I do with adults, but the work I do in the schools. My involvement with Cringe Fest started, I think, probably 4 or 5 years ago. I was first an audience member, of course, but our director, Jen Chohan, is very persuasive.
Yes.
And she did talk me into getting up on the stage and telling a story. And now my involvement has kind of turned into I help behind the scenes. I help the performers edit and kind of tighten up or just shape their stories, which is an aspect of it that I absolutely love.
But you went on stage, what was it, 2022 at Porta?
Yes,
Would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
introvert.
For sure. That's what
Yeah.
my thoughts were. So I was shocked when I saw you on stage. So talk about how you don't have to be an extrovert to be part of Cringe Fest. Why? Like, why are introverts getting up there?
Well, I did it because again, it's such a fun night and I do believe so strongly in the cause. I did want to challenge myself a little bit, so there was this moment of, oh, can I do it? I didn't know if I could, and then I did, which felt great. But I think introverts get on the stage because there is something just again like connecting with an audience that is really, really satisfying. The other thing that is amazing here, the audience is so there to support the performers and they're so excited to hear the stories that even for an introvert to get on stage, they will feel that support and that kind of encouragement from the audience. It's just a great night.
I have to imagine the adrenaline is pumping a little bit when you're up there.
Totally.
Would you do it again, like on the big stage?
I might. I mean, I think the rule is once and done. So I can say yes, I would without maybe having to actually do it.
The judging process at Cringe Fest, can you walk us through a little bit like what wins at Cringe Fest? What kinds of stories do you think?
The stories that the audience is just roaring with laughter. I think some of the best stories, they can be shocking. They can be so shocking that the audience can't help but laugh. I think the other part of the stories that win are again, this experience that the audience has that may not have happened to me exactly, but I know that feeling and I am like laughing alongside the performer, as they tell the story. And then, of course, there is the shameless buying of votes. If your performer brings a ton of friends or if a performer just tells a story that really wins the audience over, it is a fundraiser. So we do invite the audience to buy a vote, and for each vote, they pay for it and then they can vote as many times as they want.
So we're also doing this campaign of kind of publicity for Cringe Fest where it's what was I thinking? Do you have a moment and a picture would be great if you could back it up where you had this hair or this prom dress or a bridesmaid dress that you just think is like, what was I thinking?
Sure, I do. I'll see if I can find a picture. Listen, I went to the prom in the 90s, so I'm sure I have a dress and I have pantyhose that have the applique on it. Yeah, yeah.
I think you probably touched on this already, but why is it so important for us to share humor or tell live stories right now, especially in this environment?
Again, I just think it's about connection. It's about I think when we all sit together and we're listening to stories, there is always a feeling in the room of the unexpected, not knowing what this story is going to be or what the performer is going to say. I do feel like you could hear a pin drop in that room until people start laughing because there is a sense of like, oh, what's this about? But I do think there's a wonderful connection that happens in the audience that, like I said earlier, the audience is rooting for the performers. They're excited to be there. They're excited to hear the stories. And then no matter what the experience, I find that the audience can find something to connect to. So they, again, maybe didn't have the same exact experience, but they've had that moment where they think, oh my gosh, what have I done? Or, I'm so embarrassed, or I wish I could take that back. And I feel like once you hear someone tell that story and that vulnerability and being willing to kind of laugh at themselves, there's just a feeling in the room of community.
So what are you looking forward to with this year's CringeFest? Anything in particular?
Always the stories. I always am looking forward to working with the performers on their stories in advance. And then the night of, we've had performers who go in so nervous, which I can relate to, and they just knock it out of the park. It again, there's a little bit of that high wire act. What's going to happen? Is it all going to go off okay? And we just have amazing people who somehow always, always, always make it a great night. And it is just a lot of fun.
Anything can happen when you're live. So we're all excited, and I can't wait to see what happens at this year's CringeFest. I want to thank you, Jen, for joining me here today. Just a reminder that CringeFest is Friday, April 17th, live at the Vogel at the Count Basie Center for the Arts in Red Bank, New Jersey. And we hope you guys will all join us. Thank you.